Okay. So guys, thanks for joining today's session, and today is the fifth day of this training. And the agenda of today's session is we will look at how to encrypt and decrypt files, how to use stage file action, what is the uses of this action. This is very important action which I'm going to explain today. How to use lookup, and we will explain about connectivity or on-premises agent, what is the architecture of agent in high availability, what is agent group, what are the constraint of a connectivity agent, and what are the prerequisites to install agent. So before I explain the connectivity agent architecture, I will show you the demo on how to create encrypted and decrypted file via the FTP adapter and how to use stage file action and then lookup. In the last class, we have seen the how to provision the FTP, means the compute instance via the Oracle Cloud, how to use the FTP adapter in order to create a file on the FTP location, how to read the file, how to delete a file, and how to list the files from the FTP. So we have completed this demonstration last time, and we are going to modify the same integration, right? So this is the integration which we have created last time. Just hold on, please, guys. Okay. Now this is the integration which we created. Let me just quickly walk you through what integrations we have, what integration we have developed last time, so that you can understand. Let it open. Okay. So in this integration, what we did, we created one REST API, the multi-verb REST API, which is used to create a file, count files, read file, and then delete file. So on this, in this FTP verb, we were taking few inputs for the create file. We were taking the file name to no. So in this count file, we were not taking any input. In the read file, we were taking an input to read the file, and then sending the response, means the content of the file. And then again, we were doing a delete operation to delete a particular file from a particular directory. Here you see we have used FTP adapter 4 times in a different branches, like to create a file. Here we are performing the read operation and creating a CSV file. Here we are using this FTP adapter to list the files from a particular directory and returning the number of files in a directory. Here we are reading a file based on the file name which we are taking as an input, and reading the file and sending the file content in the response of the REST. Similarly, deleting a file, we were taking a file name from a user and then deleting a file from a particular directory. So here, when we use this adapter, here you have seen that we have created a file without header. Right now, if you want to create a header in the file, okay. So guys, before I move forward, do you have any question from the last session on this demonstration which I did last time? Anyone, any question, please ask. Okay. If no question, then I will move forward. So here, so what I did, I did a mapping from the REST request to the FTP adapter so that a file can be created. But the file which we have created, it was without header. So how to create a headers in the files too? So let the mapper to be opened. So here you see we have done a mapping here, and here you see we have the employee as a repeated element, and then we are taking the employee's data from the user and doing a mapping. And here you see the array to array we did a mapping. Now so you see this is the repeating element. So in order to create a new header, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to right click on this employee, the repeating element, and click on this repeat node. So once I do this, Here you see another node employee has been created here. Okay, first name, last name, age, qualification, email. So this one I will use to create the header. So for this, what I'm going to do, I'm going to do this like right click on this first name, do this and then L. So here I will say first name. So this will be the header for the first name. Similarly, create target node for the last name and do this last name. Age. So I'm just putting the hard coded string for each and every column so that our headers can be created. Email. So here you see I have this employee node. First node is the employee node where I'm doing the mapping, and the second is the employee node. So what will happen when this mapper will run? First, it will map all the data in the file, and then in the last, it will create the header. But I need the headers on the top of the file. So OIC Integration Cloud provides you to edit the mapper directly here, which is the feature in the recent version of the OIC. So you should have this version 21.1.2 to edit the mapper directly. So what I'm going to do here, you see, this is the employee node where we have done the hard coding. So I will control C here, and before this for each, okay, I will paste here and then I will delete from here. Right now, if you go to this mapping again, you can see 1/2, and then here you see this is the hard coded. You can see here. Validate and then close it. Now you see last time we were reading a file. If I open this, okay, so when I was reading the file, what was happening? It was skipping the first row because header was not mentioned. Here you see if I edit this adapter and if I go back, and here you see use first row as a column headers. So due to this option, the first row is considered as a header and it was skipped during the reading. If you want to consider your first row as a data row as well, then you can skip this and you will see first name will be converted into the C1, C2, C3, C4. You see. Do you see here? And then in the mapper also you will see C1, C2, C3, C4, C5, and accordingly you have to do the mapping. But now I am going to create the headers in the file. So I will use this option now. Okay. And now cancel. Now let me just save this integration and let's try to create. Let's try to execute this. Active. Okay, so let's try to test this one. So I wanted to use the create file. Go to the body here. Let me just have one more. Fine, let's say. Then Kumar 23 MCA Nitin at gmail.com. Karthik MBA, and then fine, and let's test it. Here you go. The status is true, which means the file has been created. Now, if you see what file has been created, what is the file name which is got created? Let me just You see a message received from a create file. The file name is the employee 4.csv. Okay. Now just let me just take this file, Control C, and let's try to read this file now. This time two records should be here, Nitin, Kumar, and it is because the header has been skipped. If you will see the earlier files also, which we did last time, now also you will see all the records will be fetched. No, only again, first row will be fetched only here in this file also I have two records, but only single is fetched because the first row has been considered as a header. So this is how you can create headers in your file. Any question on this, please? Anyone?
Can you show the file with header?
Can you repeat that?
Can you show the file with header, please, in the server?
Oh, yeah, sure. Do you see that? Here you see earlier two file, employee 2.csv, employee 3.csv. Let me just refresh it. Here you see employee 4. Let me just paste it here. Okay. And now let me just open this file. Employee. Wait, this is not having transferred, is it? Yeah, it is transferred.
Double click on that, it should be open.
No, it is not getting opened actually. Oh, what happened? Where it is? Why it is not showing here? Yeah, here. Okay. So do you see that now?
Yes, thank you.
Now let's move forward. Okay. Now I wanted to show you how to encrypt and decrypt the file. So in order to encrypt and decrypt the file, you see in the
Ankur,
yeah, please.
Ankur, I have a question here actually. Earlier you showed that there was one checkbox where it says the top header is a top record is a top
Yeah.
header of the file.
Yeah.
If we uncheck that, then again it will consider the first
No.
record will as an header, or it will skip that one.
No, it will not skip. Then the first row also will be read.
Okay, so we don't have to define the header in that scenario.
That's correct.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
so this is actually for these use cases. Let's suppose someone is sending the file on the FTP, and they said in that FTP in that CSV file I don't have the header, but yes, the first column will be first name, second column will be the last name. Then accordingly you have to read it, and then you can uncheck this option in order to read the first row as well.
Okay, thank you.
Any other question? Now here you see FTP connection here, right? So in the FTP connection last time we have, oh, we have not uploaded, is it? Let me see. Okay, it is because
last time we had some format issues here.
correct. Where's that? I hope I kept this. No problem. Let me just generate again, right? PGP generator online. Let's try to generate this. a@g.com. Let me just keep the password, okay, and generate it. Okay, so this is your PGP file. Let me just copy this and let me just open the text, add it here. Hold on, please. Okay, so I just copied this file on my notepad and then saving this. Just hold on. Yeah, so I'm saving this as a public key. Okay, public PGP public key. Dot ASC and extension I'm keeping this dot ASC. Okay, fine. And similarly, I'm copying this private key, and again I'm copying this into my another notepad. Okay, and then again I'm making this as a PGP private. Fine. So I have saved both the files. Now let me just upload both the files here. PGP public key. Okay. .txt. Why txt is coming here? Let's see. Okay. So ASCII algorithm, yes, and cipher you can say AES 2056. And now I have to again upload the private key. Okay, and then private key password. And then try to test. A connector, please upload a valid PGP key. It might be because of the text extension. Let me just try to remove the text extension. Please allow me a minute. This. Just try again. Format, make plain text. Okay, let me just.
Ankur, I think you have shared only one screen because
Yeah,
it
I
looked
know.
like your screen is freeze. Okay.
I know. Yeah, that's fine, I guess now. Yeah. So what I did, I just capped the extension .asc. Can you see now? So what I'm doing is I'm just keep saving the file into different format. PGP public. And now let me just PGP public one. I hope you can see my Chrome window, right? Where I'm just loading these files. Here you see now the connection is tested successfully with PGP public 1.asc and then PGP private _1.asc. Now go back, save. Now my PGP public and private file has been uploaded into my FTP connection. Now what I want to create the encrypted file. So in order to create the encrypted file, what you need to do? It's very simple. When you are creating the file, okay, you simply need to enable a single option called perform PGP encryption on the file to be sent to the external FTP server. If the PGP public key is uploaded in the FTP adapter and you check this option, then the file which will be written on the server which will be encrypted only. That's it. Right? Now, similarly, I want to decrypt the file. So when you read the file, okay, there is no such option here. Like to decrypt the file while reading. Do you see? You don't see here. So in order to decrypt the file, first you have to download the file. And how to download the file? Basically, you have to use the FTP adapter first. Let's say FTP adapter here. And now let's say download file and then next. And here we have one option called download file. So download file is the option of my FTP adapter. And what download file option is? So download file option, what it will do? It will download your FTP file to the OIC stage server. There will be a temporary location which you can create on the OIC servers and then upload your file there, means download your file there. The location will be created on the OIC server and you will not have access of it. And this temporary location will be created temporarily for a single integration instance. And as soon as the integration instance will be completed, that directory will be deleted from there as well. So download file operation is we use when we want to download the file temporarily on the staging location for the further reading. So I am just using the download file. Here you have to give the input directory of FTP from where you want to read the file. And then file name also will come from my FTP only. So I am just giving anything for the time being, b.csv. And then download directory. Download directory, you can give anything. Let's say TMP, or you can say decrypt. Okay. So what will happen when this adapter will be executed? It will download the b.csv file into the decrypt folder at the OIC staging server. And while downloading this file, I want to perform the decryption as well. So the PGP private key file is uploaded onto your FTP server, and using that private key file, the file will be decrypted. And the private key which you have uploaded, make sure it will be the same private key. Means the public and private key is the combination actually. So the private key should be the corresponding public key which is used to encrypt the file. So now my file will be encrypted via the public key which I have created here. And similarly, this PGP private key will be used to decrypt the file which was encrypted by this file. So let's suppose you are creating another PGP public key and you are using that public key to encrypt the file, but you have uploaded the another private key. And when you will try to decrypt it, your integration will get failed. So which means the public key and private key should be in the combination. Next, and then done. Reset. And now just map the file name here. Download request, template parameter, and here file name. Now where my file is? The file is at the OIC server. Now I need to read the file. So OIC provides one action called stage file. So this stage file is one of the action which will be used to perform a different actions on your staging area. So let me just try to put here. Let's say read file. Okay, read file. Read file from stage. Next. Here, similar to the FTP, we have a different options here, like read entire file. Second option is read file in segment. So read entire file will be used to read the complete file at a time. Read file in segments is an important option, which will read the file in 200 records at a time. Let's suppose you have downloaded a file on your staging area, which is having 5,000 records. So you don't want to read the complete file at a time. However, you want to read the file in segments. So when you use this read file in segment option, so what will happen? Only 200 records will be read at a time. And when you will iterate it further, the next 200 records will be read. The write file, you can write the file on the staging. You can zip files. Also, you can unzip file. You can encrypt file on the staging location as well. Similarly, you can decrypt file as well. And you can list file off from your directory as well. Now I will use this read entire file from the staging. So read entire file having two options, configure file reference or the yes or no. If you choose no, then you have to specify the file name and the directory from where you want to read. If you choose yes, then you have to provide the file reference of your staging file. So I will choose yes. If I click on an edit option, so I have used the download file operation. Download file operation is the synchronous operation, and after the file will be written, it will provide me the file reference. Here, if I load more here, you see file reference. So I will use the same file reference. So this file reference will have the actual file location with the file data. So I will use this one. Exit expression builder. Next, and here you have to give the type of file which you are trying to read. So I want to read the CSV file. So I will use this one, and then next. Choose the delimited data file. So I will use the same format from my this thing. Okay. And here I will say employee. Similarly, if your file is containing the headers, so you can keep this option on, otherwise you can deselect this option. Next, and then finish. You see read file from stage. Now I don't need this option. So I will simply delete this. And here I need to update the mapping. So first let me just delete this. Delete target now. Fine. And now here you see download, sorry, read file from stage. I need to use this one. Right? So again, let's do this. Fine. And then validate and then close it. Let's try to activate this integration now. Okay. So let me just first create a file. Body. Kumar. Here you see true. Now let me just see what is the file of the name which has been created here. Then I will also show you the file should be encrypted. The file name is created with employee underscore 5. You can see from here too. The employee underscore 5.csv has been created. So that will be encrypted now. Now let me just try to read it and we'll see. Here you see Ankit Kumar, everything has been done. Now let me just show you the file. Let me just first transfer this file on my location and then we'll show you. Let me know if you can see this file. So it will be in this format. So you see employee underscore 5.csv. It will be in the same format. When you encrypt the file, it will like this. Guys, do you have any question on this, please?
Ankur, like a couple of questions here.
Yeah.
Like reading a file from the stage environment is like more secure, or we don't have ability to use the read a file direct option here?
So read a file, you can do it, right? Last time we have seen we can simply use read file option to read a file from the FTP. But if your file is encrypted, you cannot directly decrypt that file using that FTP adapter. So first you have to download it on the staging, because while downloading you have an option to decrypt the file.
Okay, it means like that option is only available when we are using this the staging.
So the download actually.
Yeah. Okay. And one more question, like Ankur, like suppose like in this transaction, right? Like here we are seeing the two records here. Suppose in one record, like when we are reading the file, if you have some issues, like maybe like data corruption or something, right? In that case, like our whole integration is going to fail.
Correct.
Or only one record is like, which is giving the wrong information, right? Which is going to be
everything will get failed because you are reading the complete file here. But yes, when I will do the exception handling, I will show you the ways to handle the exceptions. So if there's a single record, then the whole integration should not get failed. I will show you such kind of options while we're doing the exception handling in the integration.
Okay. And one more question. Sorry, Ankur. Yep.
No problem.
Suppose like if you have like 100 records in one file, in OIC, do we have any mechanism to count like, okay, in one file, I have like, it's kind of like summary, 100 records got like in the file and 100 records got like transferred. Is there any mechanism inside our OIC we can build it or like to customize it?
You can do that for sure. How you can do this? So when you will read the file, okay, so it will provide you an array of the records. Okay, now you wanted to see how many records do you have. You have this option like you can loop over the array and create one counter variable, and then in a loop just increase that counter variable, and then after this for loop you can print that, or wherever you want to use this counter variable you can do that.
Okay. And if possible, maybe
one more. Okay, so this is the what we say, this is the longest path. But here, if you want to see the number of records, so what you can do, let me just deactivate this. There's a function called count. You can use that count function in order to count that one. So let me just do one thing here. Let's suppose read file from a stage. You want to read, you want to see how many records you have. So let me just use one of the action called logger. So logger will be used to log some data inside the log file of the integration. So let me just put it here and let's say count and then create. I will say always and then add it. There's a function called count. I will put that count here and you see read file from stage. So it will give you an array. So this is called an array element. You see double bar. So I will put this employee element under this node set, under this function actually.
Okay.
And when this function will run, it will provide me the number of records. Concat, let's say number of records. Fine. Close. Save and close. Let's try to test this now. Sorry. Test. And now you see logger count. Okay, let me just refresh it. You see number of records too.
Yes, sir. Great. Thank you.
Yeah. Any question?
Ankit, how do we only mask a few of the fields? I mean, encrypted.
No, you
Like
you
entire
can,
file here.
no, you have either the entire file will be encrypted or not. You cannot do a few field masking.
Okay. But usually in real time, when we send the outbound file, there will be only few of the fields need to be masked. Like for example, IBAN number or the account, bank account number.
I understand
RSSI.
that. I understand.
So how do we achieve that?
Here you cannot do this. Either the full file should be encrypted or it should be unencrypted. There is no alternate to it as well.
And with respect to one more question, maybe what just you explained, this is related to the previous one of the session where when I am defining the outbound location, where I will be, for example, I am sending a EFT files.
Where are you sending the
EFT file to the bank, right?
EFT
outbound direct, yeah. Electronic fund transfer.
Okay.
Specific files needs to be created and located in the outbound respective location.
Okay.
So where which will be not in the SFTP location, say from my SaaS environment to the respective location, I am writing a file, right? Now similarly, how the bank will know that they have to go and pick in this. So am I going to define a certain location as an inbound and outbound? Like in an on-prem, we define two different directories. One is the inbound and one is the outbound. Say, for example, Bank of America or a specific HSBC. So the respective user, either they will have a local shared drive or they will go and place the respective file in that location. From there, we will read it and do the respective operation. Similarly, if it is outbound, we are going to keep in that. So in OSC, as you were explaining, now this you mentioned about the staging area where basically the stage location we will keep. So the scenario which I explained, where exactly we will be defining the location of that inbound or outbound with respect to
it's in the FTP adapter only, right? Here you see.
Yeah, FTP.
So when you trying to create a file, here you have to define the directory from where you want to read the file actually. So where you want
okay,
to
outbound directory. Okay.
correct. And so let's suppose you want to make it dynamic. Okay. So you don't want to hard code it here. So there are two options to it. Either you can map it here, or you can take the directory from the lookup, which I'm going to show you now how to use the lookups, and then make it dynamically. And later, if you want to change the directory, you can change it.
So this will be having an access to the third-party system or beyond the firewall for that?
Yes. So
respective
FTP adapter, which you are using, it can connect to the FTP which is reachable over the internet, as well as which are behind the firewall. But if you want to access the FTP which is behind the firewall, you have to install the connectivity agent on the machine.
Okay. So next, which you are going to explain the
Yes,
connectivity
yes,
agent.
yes.
Yeah, okay. Behind the firewall. Fine. Thanks.
Now let's try to use the lookup. So what I'm going to do here, you see we have one email, we have one qualification field. Okay, like MBA, I'm sending MCA, BPA. And instead of sending the MBA, MCA, you want to have the full form of it and send it to the target location. So for this, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a lookup here. Let's say create. In order to create a new lookup, you have to come on the lookups and then create it. And you can say lookup name is qualification and then create. When you create a lookup, two domain name will be created automatically. Domain name is nothing, it is just like a column names and then rows. So you can change this, you can say edit domain name and you can say qualification code. Qual code. Okay. Similarly, you can say qualification simply. And then okay. So whatever mapping you want to define, you can define here. Let's say I wanted to have MCA and Master of Computer Application. Okay. Then I wanted to say BCA, Bachelor of Computer Application. You can keep adding more and more by clicking on this plus button. If you want to create more domain names, you can click here and then create more. Okay. Now my lookup is ready, which is having the mapping of qualification code to qualification, and then save it. And now go back. Now your qualification lookup is ready. Now once your lookup is ready, you can view it, you can update it again if you want it, and then you can export to CSV. So when you will click on this export to CSV, a CSV file will be downloaded. And if I do this, let me just open that CSV file and will show you. I hope you can see that. Hello.
We can see.
So how this file looks like. So the name of the file will be qualification. And here you see the first row will have the DVM, the fix, and the qualification is the lookup name. Qual code, the second row represents the column name in the lookup, and next rows represents the row. Let's suppose you have one CSV file which you want to convert into the lookup. You can create a lookup in this particular format where the first row will have the DVM, the keyword DVM is the keyword, and then the lookup name, and then column name, and then the rows. Let's suppose I want to add one more row here. Okay, let's say.
What is the meaning of DVM?
Let's say MBA, Master of Business Administration. Okay, and now save it. Fine. Now let me just go back here And let me just import that file. Download. Where it was qualification. Yeah. Open. Fine. And then import. Import and replace. What happened? So looks like, okay, it has been saved in the document, I guess. Documents, here it is. Where it is. Document, why I'm not able to select this file? Hold on, please. Let me just download it again. Qualification. I'm just trying to update it. Maybe you will not be able to see my screen. Let me just try MBA Master Business Administration. Okay. Desktop. Let me see now if I can do this import desktop qualification. Okay, I'm not able to select it, but fine. But you understand, right? And when you will import it, this file will be replaced and the new entry will be there. You can clone this lookup as well. Now, I have created one lookup and now I want to create another lookup, let's say FTP lookup, wherein I will maintain the directory. Let's say read directory. So I will say directory and then path here. Fine. And here I can say read directory and then /home/opc/v11. Similarly, I will say write directory and I will keep the same. Now, directory I will read from the lookup, so that if you want to change this directory at any point of time, you can do that without changing the integration. Let's go here. Let me just deactivate it. FTP operation. So let's try to use the reset. So while creating the file, instead of sending the MBA MCA, I wanted to send the full form of it. So what I'm going to do is create a file. Okay. So open this mapper. Open this employees and here you see the qualification. So let me just delete this mapping because here I want to use the lookup. Now, if you want to use the lookup in the mapper, so expand this and here we have function called lookup value. You see lookup value function. When you drag and drop this lookup value function, it will open one dialog box wherein it will show you all the lookups which you have. So I want to use the qualification lookup, so select it. So once you select it and click on next, it will show you the source column and then target column. Source column will be the qualification code because I want to map basis on the qualification code, and the target will be my qualification. Okay, and then next, and here default value. What default value is? So here you see I have two entries as of now, MCA and BCA. Let's suppose in your REST, MC also comes, BC also comes, and you are sending BBA also, but BBA is not there. So what value you wanted to send for this? So I'll say not found. Okay, next, and here finish. So when you use this lookup function, this is a function, it takes 5 arguments. The first argument will be the lookup name, which we have given. The second is the source column. The third is the source value, which value you wanted to use in the qualification code, which will be this qualification. So you have to change this source value. It can be hard coded or it can be dynamic, but it will be a dynamic. So I will map this, right? And then qualification is the target column and the default value, and then refresh it. What will happen when this mapper will run? It will call the lookup. Whatever entry is there in the lookup, it will be sent into the qualification column automatically. So this is first. Now here you see I have used the target directory, the output directory, to write the file. So I wanted to take this directory from my lookup. So what I'm going to do, I am going to one of the activity called assign. Assign is nothing, it is just to create variables and assign the values corresponding to it. So I will use this assign variable action here, and I'll say var variables. Okay, and then click on a create button. When you do this, so this page will be opened wherein you can define the variables. So click on this plus button. When you do this, the variable name will be like this, the variables action name, and then assignment 1. You can change it. You can say read directory, right? And click on edit. So here you want to use the lookup. Similarly, you can use the lookup function from here, right? And then put a lookup here. I wanted to use the FTP lookup, select it, and then next. So source column will be your directory, and it will be your path. So I wanted to use this read directory, sorry, right, dir next, and you can say not found. Next, and then done. So here you see the value of the parameter source value is not filled. Please drag and drop the field from source tree or edit the expression. So here I am just putting it as a write directory, because write directory is the value in the lookup. Close it. Now I want to use this action in this here. I want to override it. So here output FTP header type. Now you can use this redirect. So it should be the right directory, but that's fine. Similarly, here also in this read file, you can create one action and then use the lookup and then map that one. Let's save this and then close. Let's try to test it now. Fine. Let me just test it now and we'll see what will happen. Create file. Body. Copy this one more time. Let's say MCA. rest. True. You can see where the file has been created. Message sent to create a file. You can see the location here too. You see home OPCP11, which is taken from the lookup. And here you see what is that qualification. Okay, I have given qualification. Okay, and not found. Okay, so this is the header. Sorry. So here you see in the Nitin MB entry is not there, so it's saying not found, right? And in this MCA, it is sending master of computer application. Now let's try to read this file. What file has been created? Let me see. The file name is employee6.csv. Let's try to read this file. And this time, here you see not found in the qualification, and the second is master of computer application. Right? So now the beauty of the lookup is, let's say, let me just create one more entry here. Let's say MBA. Okay, save. Now you don't need to activate or deactivate your integration. The changes will be reflected automatically. Let me just write this. MBA. And let's see. The message received from create a file. The file name is employee7.csv. Here we go. Master of Business Administration. So this is how you can use lookups in the integration cloud. Any question on this? Anyone?
That assignment operator, for that, right, Ankur, which you have showed, can we hard code a value also without using a lookup?
Here, earlier we were hard coding the value only, right? So here you see in this read
file. I mean to say in this assignment variables, right?
You can,
global
yes,
variables. What
yes, yes, you can do that. Yes. So in the single quotes, you can hard code the value. Yes.
Ankur, can you make dependent lookups?
Dependent lookup as in?
Hello.
I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Can we make it?
No, can you please a bit louder? Hello.
Yes. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible now.
Can we make dependent lookups?
Dependent lookup as in? Can you give an example?
Like state and district.
So you are saying basis on that country you want to get the state?
Yes, like that.
So you can. So you are saying the qualifier, right? So you want to have to separate two lookups or single lookup?
No, I want two different lookup and they were dependent on each other.
And so what you will do?
No, just I'm asking. Means in value set, we have created some value set, dependent value sets. Like that, I'm asking.
So what you can do now, what you can do, you can create two lookups here, right? In single lookup, you can pick the country names, right? And let's suppose based on the country name, you want to get the state. So no, because country name will be repeated, right?
Yes.
No. But all the states will come, I guess. When you will put a country name, all the states should come, I guess. Or the last one. I have not checked that. You just try that if you are able to achieve that.
Okay.
Okay. Any other question on this? If not,
Ankur, Vibhuti, this side, I have a question. Like you did some mapping on the directory, like directory is coming as a property of the integration. So how you are changing the property of the integration? Could you please just repeat? I missed
which property? This one you are saying in the mapper?
Yes, mapper, like directory was in the property of integration.
So here you see, this one you are talking about?
Yes, and
So
we mapped it from the lookup.
So what we did first we created this variable here, and in this variable we have used the lookup function and then map this directory here.
Okay. Okay, I got you. I think it is coming in that section. Properties are coming in the section where we can like modify or assign some variable values.
So here you are talking about? This one you are talking about?
No, not exactly in the integration properties. In the yes, this one.
So here now, so here I have shown you now. Here though we have this outbound FTP adapter type, wherein you can pass the file name directory dynamically.
Okay.
What's the confusion?
I just wanted to know from where this directory name is coming. Like somewhere
so
we have defined.
No, it will come automatically. This is the standard one. This is a standard.
Okay.
This will come every time. We have not defined anywhere. This is the default actually object which will come in this request. And this we have
from
defined.
FTP adapter.
Yes, and this we have defined actually in the FTP, the name, employee and employees. And then this is coming from the file sample file.
Yes, I got you. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, now let's move to the slides and let me just explain you the connectivity agent. And before I move to the connectivity agent, if you have any question, you can ask regarding the FTP.
Ankur, Gaurav here. I have one question regarding lookup. Like in Oracle, we have lookup code, meaning or tag. Like we have 3 or 4 columns. So we can define any like one. We can map one value with multiple values. So in case of OCI, here, do we have multiple options? Like one lookup can be mapped with 2 or 3 values, and accordingly, in few integrations we can pick one value, or in another integration we can pick the other value.
Yes, you can. So in one lookup, you can create multiple columns. And whatever, and you can use, so when you use the lookup value function, you will have a choice like source column and then target column, where you need to define the source column and then target column. And you can create 2 more columns in the same lookup, and then you can use these 2 lookups in the different integration. But if you want, but better the single lookup can be used into n number of integrations.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so let's move to another important concept called connectivity agent. Guys, any idea about this? Anyone? What connectivity agent is? Why do we require?
this I think you had explained like for local area networks, if we need to connect from outside network, then we need to have agent,
Correct. Absolutely yes.
just like our VPN connections.
Absolutely yes. Correct. So
And
now,
correct me if not, as you mentioned that outside the firewall, when it is there on the on-premise, we will be configuring using the connectivity.
yeah. So every application which is behind the firewall, which is not accessible over the internet, you cannot connect your OIC with that application, either by the application adapter or the technology adapter. So in order to connect those applications which are secured, which is running behind the firewall, which is not accessible outside your company's organization, you should have the connectivity agent. So even this is not only for the OIC, you can take any application in the world which is running over the internet and another application which is running behind the firewall. If you want to make a connectivity between both the public facing application and the private facing application, you cannot do the communication. You must require some kind of agent, some kind of proxy to communicate between each other. Similarly, OICs also cannot communicate with the application which is behind the firewall. So in order to communicate between OIC and an on-premise application, you must have the connectivity agent. And what connectivity agent is? A connectivity agent or on-premises agent sometimes is a lightweight component which solves the problem of cloud to on-premises integration. So you can understand like this. You have the laptop, okay? And I also have the laptop. You are in your network, I'm also in my network. If I want to access your laptop from my laptop, I cannot access this directly. I am using Zoom. Now, if you will give me the control, then I can access your computer. So now we are using Zoom. Similarly, if your OIC wants to communicate with your system, it cannot connect to your system directly because your IP is private. Your system is private. But yes, the application which are accessible over the internet, let's say FTP was the internet facing. So we have directly connected it. We have directly connected the REST API, which were accessible over the internet. We have directly connected the SOAP API, which were accessible over the internet. But what for the REST and then SOAP, which is running locally on your system or running on the servers, which is running in your network. So for that, you need the connectivity agent. And connectivity agent is nothing. It is like a simple installer you have to install on some machine, like you install any other setup. The agent is required to exchange messages with on-premises application such as database, Oracle e-business suite system, applications and products, Ariba, etc. This connectivity agent can be installed behind the firewall to access on-premises application. So whenever your system, whenever your application is running behind the firewall, then in that case only you require the connectivity agent. Someone is trying to ask something, please. And Lakshmi, Shantos, and if you are not speaking, please go on mute. And if you want to ask anything, you please unmute and ask. Okay, I hope the connectivity agent is clear why we want to use the connectivity agent. Why, what is the purpose of it? Is it clear to everyone? Okay. How connectivity agent works actually in real time. So here, let's say you have the OIC and this is your on-premise network, let's say. In your on-premise network, you may have the database, you may have other WebLogic server which is up and running, wherein you have install your Java application as a REST API, and you want to connect to your data. You want to connect your database via the OIC database adapter. You want to connect these REST API via the REST adapter. So how you will connect? If you directly connect it, you will not be able to connect because all these will be the private IPs. In order to make a solution to connect to database and then system, you should have one important thing which is called connectivity agent, and this connectivity agent must be installed on some machine, on the some Linux machine or the Windows machine. Then only this connectivity can be installed. So what you will have one machine on the same network where you heard this correctly. You just hear this correctly, carefully. I mentioned you have to install the connectivity agent on the same on-premise network where your applications are up and running. So you might have 100 of applications in the same network, and single connectivity agent can connect to all applications. So it can be a database, it can be a REST API, it can be an EBS system, it can be an Ariba system. And the OIC will be able to use that connectivity agent in order to communicate n number of applications in the same network.
Connectivity agent are always installed in on-premises network only.
Yes. Can you repeat that?
Connectivity agent is already installed in on-premises network only.
Is already installed, you mean?
All means
As of now, the clients are already using the connectivity agents. Okay, multiple connectivity agents to provide the access to other vendors.
I will
So-
also help you what is the recommendation to use the connectivity agent and how it should be used actually in order to connect to different applications.
Okay.
So as of now, I am.
Good. I have, sorry.
Yeah, please.
What I mean to ask here, when you put it diagrammatically, today when any customer is going for the cloud and he will have the OIC. So will the existing middleware, say SOAR, any TIPCO, and other middleware will be replaced with the OIC?
You
and
can
in the on-premise network is nothing inside the client, basically wherever inside premises, what are the application?
Yeah.
Say for example, EBS is on-premise,
Yeah.
as where they have a data center, and in the data center they have all the servers and everything. So now exactly where the physical location, the connectivity agent will be installed.
I will help you on this for sure. Allow me some time.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
So here you see the agent work as a bridge. Agent work as a bridge between your OIC and on-premise application, and without that, communication is not possible. And how connectivity agent connects with OIC? The OIC does not send any request to the connectivity agent. It is just like on a polling mechanism. Connectivity agent keep polling the OIC for any work. Let's suppose OIC wants to communicate with the database. So we will use the database adapter and will provide the agent group reference there. And if you will try to test the connection, as soon as you test the connection, doesn't mean that OIC is sending a request to the connectivity agent. Connectivity agent keeps polling the OIC, and it will be a millisecond polling. And connectivity agent will take that request and will try to establish a communication with the database, and then you will see the connection has been tested successfully. Whether it is a design time work, whether it's a runtime work, the OIC does not send any request to the connectivity agent, but connectivity agent does this job. Agent sends his heartbeat signals to Oracle integration regularly to tell that I am alive. to serve your request. In addition to that, agent regularly call for any design and runtime work on which agent needs to act upon. So I said, let's suppose you want to create a REST connection with the application which is on the on-premise network. Then OIC will use the REST adapter. You will provide the base URL of the REST API and will refer the agent group as well. Agent group I will explain in the next slide, next slide. And then connectivity agent will take that request and will try to establish the communication. Similarly, while the integration, when your integration will be up and running, then also during that runtime, OIC needs to work with the application. So also that work will be taken by the connectivity agent and will send your message from here and there. So these design time work can be like testing a connection. When you test a connection, a connectivity agent will take that request and will try to make a connection. And also while activating or deactivating that integration, the agent will come. Same way, there are runtime activities on which agent need to act upon for any communication between integration cloud and on-premise systems, such as database and then EBS, etc. Okay. Any question, anyone so far on this architecture? Okay. Now let's understand this agent group. What this agent group is. Agent group is nothing. It is a unique identifier which represent the connectivity agent, and every connectivity agent must be associated with an agent group. So before you install the connectivity agent, a agent group should be created in the integration, and it is a unique identifier. And while installing the connectivity agent, you provide the identifier of the agent group so that agent group can represent your connectivity agent. And while you create the connection, you provide the reference of the agent group only. And when you will test the connection, the agent group is having the reference of the connectivity agent, and accordingly the connectivity will happen. So before you install connectivity agent, you must have the connectivity agent. So you must have the agent group. There's a limitation to that. You must create an agent group in Oracle integration before you can run the connectivity agent installer. For a single Oracle integration instance, you can create up to 5 agent groups. So in a single integration instance, so this is the hard limit actually. You can only create 5 agent groups. If you want to try to create more than 5 agent group, you cannot create it. And you can get this message when you're trying to create more agent groups. Connectivity agent in high availability. Guys, do you understand the high availability? What HA is? Anyone?
High availability means it is available for the means almost 100%.
Correct. So if you are using n number of application in day-to-day life, you are using WhatsApp, you are using Facebook, you are using few other e-commerce site, and every time you open that application, it is always available. It's always available. And in order to work any application, you require some kind of resources. The resource can be the application server, it can be a database, it can be a load balancer, it can be a file server, it can be a storage. So in order to work an application properly, everything should be up and running every time. So you might You may have heard that your Facebook is not working sometimes, your WhatsApp is not working. There's some what we say, downtime of it. Sometimes it's a pre-planned activity, sometimes it's not a planned actually. So what is HA? How HA works is, so in order to have your application up and running every time, your application should be in the high availability mode, which means you should have more and more servers. So let's suppose you have one physical machine wherein you have installed one application server, and on top of that you have installed your application. Due to the power issue or the network issue and any other issue, your physical system is down. If it is down, then your application will not be accessible, which means it's not a high available. So in order to make it highly available, you must have the different physical machine, and you will install the servers on each and every machine and install your application on all the machines. And let's suppose your one of the system is down, the physical box is down due to any reason. Your second physical box is there, and it will take the request and your application request will be served. That is called highly available. But yes, it might be possible at the same time both are down. Then in that case, your complete system is down. So in order to make it more and more highly available, you can have one more physical box and more. You can keep adding. But in the cloud world, such issues will not come like the power cut until unless there are some issues. Similarly, in terms of the connectivity agent, if you want to make it highly available, you can install connectivity agent onto two different machines. And if any one of the machine, then your request will be served by different agent and it should running in the active mode. So to tackle the high traffic on the single connectivity agent, you can install connectivity agent in the high availability mode. You can associate maximum 2 agents with a single agent group, which means when you create an agent group and while you install the connectivity agent, you provide the reference of your agent group. And when you want to make it highly available, you will install the connectivity agent 2 times on a 2 different server, and you will provide the agent group identifier, the same agent group identifier, and your connectivity agent will be connected to the same agent group. But you can connect your connectivity to connectivity agent with a single agent group. So this is also a limitation. The highly availability mode ensures that transaction will continue if any one of the agents goes down or any host becomes unavailable. For this highly available environment, you don't need any load balancers separately. So load balancing thing will be taken care by the agent group. You install connectivity agent 2 times and provide the reference of the same agent group, and connectivity agent will be connected to your agent group. And sometimes the request will go to the agent 1, sometimes it will go to the agent 2. If your agent 1 is down, the request will be served by the agent 2. In order to make sure the agent are installed on 2 different boxes in order to make sure that it's highly available. If you have a single physical box and if the box is down, then everything is down. Make sense? Any question on this? I hope it's clear.
Good, Tejeshwar here. When you explained like non-premise, we have 2 boxes. Say, for example, in EBS 12.2, we will have FS1 and FS2. So FS1, when it is online enabled, in case it goes down, it goes for FS2.
Correct.
So same way here, when I am installing the connectivity agents on two FS1 and FS2, right? And as you said, I will create the first sentence. You can associate maximum 2 agents with single agent group.
Correct.
And you will create a reference of that agent group and will give on both the FS1 and FS2. Do you mean the same, or I did a different way?
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay.
Now, what are the limitations in your connectivity agent? One is the 10 MB payload limit. So while you send a request to your database or any other application, okay, it can handle only 10 MB in a single transaction. So let's suppose you are trying to create a file on your FTP server, which is accessible behind the firewall. So the maximum file size should be within the 10 MB limit. If you are trying to create a more than a 10 MB file, your integration will get failed. So make sure it's a 10 MB. Similarly, if you are trying to insert something in your database via the connectivity agent, and if the complete payload is exceeding the 10 MB, then also it will get failed. It's very, very important. Actually, 10 MB is not only for the connectivity agent, it's for each and every adapter. This 240 seconds is very, very important to understand actually. What 240 seconds timeout is. Let's suppose you have initiated one transaction towards the connectivity agent. You are trying to fetch some data from your database, and you have written one PL SQL package, in which you are doing lot of transformation. You are doing inner join, outer join, you are massaging, you are doing some if else, exception handling might be. Let's suppose you want to get the employee details from your HRMS system basis on the employee ID. So what you will do, you may create one PL SQL package, and the request will be the employee ID, and the response will be the employee's details field. In that PL SQL package, it might be possible that you are doing a lot of messaging. Okay. So this package you are creating, it's a synchronous package. You need the request and you will need the response as well in that package. That is called synchronous actually. When you will try to call this package via the database adapter, it will go via the connectivity agent, because the database adapter cannot be used without the connectivity agent. When you will call your connectivity agent and pass your request ID, means the employee ID, the PL SQL package will be called. It will do a lot of stuff which you have written. And if the complete transaction, sending the request, getting the response, will not be completed within the 240 seconds, which is 4 minutes, your transaction, your OIC will get an error. However, connectivity agent thread will not be removed. Agent will get the message whether it is received within the 1 hour or 2 hours. But there is no mean of this data, because OIC thread has already been deactivated or deleted or removed. So if OIC will not get the response from the connectivity agent within the 240 seconds, then your integration may get failed. So these are the two limitations which you should deal. So in order to get rid out from these two issues, like the 10 MB and then 240, what you should do? What are the consideration actually while you design your solution? Make sure you will get the data into the pagination. You will write your PL SQL package in such a way that it will provide record in chunks. So you may have heard the pagination concept. The pagination concept provides the data into the chunks. So when you open any e-commerce site or any, like you are using the Facebook, okay? So everything will not load on a single page. So in order to get the data more and more, what you do? You keep scrolling, and the data will keep loading. That is called pagination. Sometimes you have seen on the pages, you have a table and you will see the next button. Okay. So it's also called pagination. You may have seen in the Google, when you search something, only the top 10 results will be there on a single page. In order to get 10 more results, you click on a next button, then 10 more results will come. Because if Google will show each and everything on a single page, it will take a lot of time and it may fail. So here also, if you want to get more and more data, so make sure you will take data into the chunks, not in a single transaction. Let's suppose you are trying to load the employees record and you have a huge number of records. You will write a PL SQL package in such a manner that it will provide the record basis on the page number. Page number in the sense you have 1,000 records. Okay, you want to get only the 100 records at a time. So there will be 10 pages. 1,000 divided by 100. If I divide 1,000 by 100, it will come 10. So you will pass the first page number and your PL SQL package should be enough smart. If you are sending one, then it will send only the 100 records. And also you have to send the offset. Offset tells you that how many records should be skipped. If you are sending 10, then the first 10 records should be skipped and another 10 records will be fetched. Similarly, if you are sending 20, the previous 20 records will be skipped and next 10 records will come. So your PL SQL package should be written in that fashion. Then only this 10 MB payload limit will be removed. Similarly, for that for the 240 seconds. So if you think that your integration, your PL SQL package may take time. So instead of creating the synchronous one, make sure you create the asynchronous. You just send a request and forget that and create another integration to take the data into different integration. Similarly, it is not only for the database. It can be for another application, EBS also. If you are trying to take some data from the EBS via the connectivity agent, if it is sending more than 10 MB data, then will get failed. If it is taking more than 240 seconds into sending the response, then also a transaction may get failed. So these are the two limitations of your agent. Any question on this, please? I hope it's clear.
Kit, for two limitations. First one, you mentioned that, as you said, page number, you will restrict 100 records per page. So that the example, I mean, for 240 seconds, what exactly how you are going to handle?
So it's for the synchronous response. You are sending the request and you are expecting the response. So let's suppose you are searching something on the Google. Okay. Let's suppose you have searched what is OIC. If the result will not come within the 240 seconds, then you should get a timeout error here. Like it's taking more than expected, something like this. Similarly, if you are, because you are expecting the response. Okay. Similarly, if you are creating a REST API wherein you need the employees data and you need this data from your database. If you are sending a request and you are expecting the response, if that response will not be completed from the connectivity agent within the 240 seconds, then your integration will get failed. Make sense?
Yeah, I mean, instead of synchronous, you need to create asynchronous with another integration where the response will be.
If you think that it will take time.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, real time scenario only this will come.
Yes.
Limitation and
Yes.
if it is a batch scenario, then it won't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone asking something?
Ankur, Vibhuti, this side, this connectivity isn't like we need to configure in the on-prem server like DMZ server or server which has internet connectivity?
Yes, I will come to this. Yes.
Okay.
Now, what are the prerequisites to install the connectivity agent? So before you install the connectivity agent, you must have the JDK installed on your host machine, and it should be the JDK 8 plus. The operating system can be 6.x, 7.2, 7.5 of Enterprise Linux. It can be a Red Hat, 6.6, 7.2, 7.5. It can be Swiss Linux Enterprise Edition. It can be a Windows. Memory, in case of memory, it should have at least 8 GB, 4 GB of heap size dedicated for agent GVM. Storage can be 500 MB. Network, the VM means the virtual machine or the physical machine should be able to communicate with the on-premises server as well as with the OIC. So this is very important to understand. Now, let me just do one thing. Let me just create one more slide here. Are you able to see this, guys, the PPT?
No.
Are you able to see now?
Yes.
Okay. So let's say, now I am trying to tell you the design consideration. So let's say you have one on-premises here. Let's say this is your network one. Okay. Let's say this is your network one. And here it might be a different applications. Let's say application 1, application 2. It can be anything. Okay. And let's say it's a app 1. Let's say it's app 2. Might be possible in single network you may have a different applications, and let's say you have another network also. No problem. Let me just create one more. Let's say you have one more environment here. And here also you may have n number of applications. Let's say 1 application, 2 application. It can be another application also. App, let's say 3, let's say app 4. Right? Let's say it is a different network, it's a different network. And here I'm considering you have the OIC. You can say it's the OIC. Now OIC wants to connect this app 1, app 2. Similarly, OIC wants to connect this app 4 and app 3 also. So what Oracle recommends is, what they say, you have a 2 different network which you want to communicate with the OIC. So what they say, they recommends it that you will take one machine here and one machine here. Here in the same network and install connectivity agent here. Agent 1 and connectivity agent 2. Right? And here you will create two agents group. One is agent group 1 and agent group 2. So while you install this connectivity agent, okay, you will give the reference of this one. Okay. Fine. And similarly, while you install this connectivity agent, you will give the reference of this one. And let's suppose this is your app 1. When you create a OIC, when you create a connection with app 1, you will give the reference of agent 1. Similarly, when you create the connection with app 2, you will give the reference of AG1. And if you want to create a connection with app 4 or app 3, you will give the reference of AG2. Why this is so? So connectivity agent is network 1. If you want to communicate between app 1 and then connectivity agent, which is in the same network, then there will be a very less latency. However, if you install a connectivity agent here, let's suppose you take a machine here. Okay. Also, you connect like this. You connect with this connectivity agent here also, and from here also, like this. You can connect like this, but which is not recommended because you have another network here. And if you go from one network to another network, then your performance will be low. It may be a India, it may be a US. So if you are going to US to India or India to US, then there will be a latency for sure. And 240 agent timeout chances may increase. So better you have two separate physical box in the same network where your applications are up and running. And if you have a n number of applications, you can use the same agent group. Now, when you install the connectivity agent, you will give the reference of this agent group plus the OIC host name. Then only the connectivity agent will be associated with that agent 1, and which means that in order to install the connectivity agent on the machine, it should have the internet connection. So this machine should have the internet connection. Otherwise, you cannot install the OIC agent here. If the complete your network team will say, I cannot provide the complete internet here. So what they can do, they can whitelist the OIC IPs here, or they can provide the proxies using which you can connect to the internet. And that proxy information you need to provide in the configuration profile of the connectivity agent, which I will show you. I hope it's clear. Guys, do you have any confusion on this? Anyone?
For OIC perspective, why this is, we need to understand this.
Huh?
For OIC perspective, I'm not getting this is a full overview. Why we are understanding this part.
You should understand while you design your connectivity agent. It first is the performance. Second is to get rid out from this 240-second issues, because when you will switch from one network to another network, it may take time. So if you are trying to switch from one home to another or from one area to another, it may take time.
Means
If you have
latency will
one
be
shop
there.
in your
So,
same area,
means latency will be more if you
absolutely
do not
yes.
configure like this.
Let's suppose you are living in Delhi. Okay, you live in East Delhi, but you are going to North Delhi to buy something. It will take time. If you have a shop near to your East Delhi and you want to go there and buy it, it will take less time for sure, right?
Right.
Similarly, here network 1 may be in India, network 2 may be in the US. If you are going from one place to another, it will take time for sure.
Okay. Okay, understand. No.
Any other question, anyone? Okay, fine.
A small thing. When we, I'm just trying to compare. We have an integration with EBS to Delboomi. So the time limit for that was 5 minutes. So when we went live, everything went absolutely fine. But later, whenever a work order is created, we wanted to trigger it. So it was initially for 15 minutes and later we have did. So in this, if I go with OIC, and I expect that initially it would take less than 240 seconds only. But in case, if it fails, so can we re-trigger it here in OIC or we can't?
You can re-trigger. I will show you in what cases you can re-trigger your messages. I will show you that one. You can, but not in all cases you can re-trigger failed messages. But there are some situations where you can re-trigger.
Okay, but we'll come to know that it failed and the cause is so and so, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I hope it's
one
clear.
question.
Lalita, you are saying something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
I can.
Okay. In our project, the SFTP is accessed through the agent. Okay. They denied the connection. So we had to access the SFTP server through the connection agent. So is there anything else that we need to consider in the design phase? Like what kind of issues we may be getting just because we are connecting to SFTP using the agent, but not directly.
So I told you, right? The same consideration which you should have. Make sure you will have the connectivity agent in the same machine, or you can have another machine on the same network.
Okay.
Then only you will be able to create the FTP and latency will be very low. If you are, let's suppose you are FTP in the network 1, but you have taken the connectivity agent in the network 2, then of course there will be latency. This is the first consideration. The second consideration is, let's suppose you have in the same network, let's suppose you have one physical box here, second physical box here in the same data center or the same network. Okay. When you will install the connectivity agent, okay, it should have the internet plus it should have the agent group identifier. This is second. The third thing is when you will use the FTP adapter, you will provide the reference of this agent. Connectivity agent will take that request and will send this request to FTP. Make sure the connectivity agent can reach to your FTP via telnet command. So if there is no connectivity between agent 1 and then app 1, then connection cannot be established. So in order to make a connection, you should know the address of this application 1 on this agent 1. So similarly, if you want to buy something from any shop, you should know the address of it. Then only you can go there and buy it. Then only the connection can happen. Similarly, if you want a communication between agent 1 and then app 1, then app 1 address should be whitelisted here.
Okay.
Otherwise, the connection will not happen.
Okay. Okay. Thanks, Sanjay.
Okay, let's move forward, and I hope you can see the integration screen.
Yes.
Now, first step is to create the agent group. So how to create agent group? You have to go to the integrations and then agents. On the agents group, you will see create agent group. In might be cases in earlier scenarios, you have seen one row here called execution agent, and from this version onwards, the execution agent concept has been removed. Create an agent group. Once you do this, this dialog box will be opened, and here you can provide the name, let's say agent group. You can give anything here. The identifier will be picked up automatically, and then type connectivity agent group and then description optionally, and then as simple as that. Once you do this, one row will be created here. You can create another agent group by clicking here. So you can create up to 5 agent groups. Oh, someone has created this one. That's fine. So here you see I have 3 agent groups. You can create 2 more. Now let me just delete that one. Now I have this agent group. Now you see this agent group is having the agents 0, which means you have not connected any agent to this agent groups as of now. Now this is the first step. Now my agent group is ready. Now you have to download your connectivity agent. Click here and then click on this connectivity agent. Once you will click on this connectivity agent, the setup will be downloaded as a zip file. So I already have downloaded it. Let me just show you. Just hold on, please. I hope you can. Guys, can you see the screen?
No.
Can you see now the agent file oic_con_agent_installer?
Yes.
So once you will download the agent, the zip file will be downloaded. So this is the setup. So let me just simply unzip it. So once you will unzip it, the another folder will be created called oic_con_agent_installer. Just open that, and here you will see another folder called agent home. There's a jar file which is called connectivity agent.jar. Another file called cpi_upgrade utility.jar. Another file called installer profile.config. So this is the important file here. So let me just open that file. Let me know if you can see that screen.
Yes.
Okay. So this file is the property file, I can say, or this is the configuration file. So here, these are the 2 required parameters which you need to provide. One as the OIC URL. OIC URL means this one. Like this. So this is the OIC URL. You need to take this till.com and then append 443 here. And the agent group identifier, which is called this one. So you should give at least 2 properties in the file. Then proxy related parameters. As I mentioned that in order to install the connectivity agent on the host machine, the host machine should have the internet. If it is not, the network team can provide the proxy related stuff. They can say you can connect internet via the proxy. So here you have to provide the proxy related stuff. It can be a host, it can be a pod, it can be a user and then password. If you want to provide the non-proxy host machines here, which you want to keep away from the proxy list, and you have to provide it here. So this is the file configuration. Now let me just go back here and open the agent. Under the agent home, I hope you are able to see the folders.
Yes. Yes.
Under this, we have the agent folder, bin folder, lib folder, logs folder, and then third party. Agent is having 3 more folders: cert, configuration, data. Data is blank. Configuration is having the dot properties file that will be blank, means that will have a certain properties, but all will be blank. Let me just show you, hold on. So here you see, these are the again blank. But yes, this will be updated when you will install the connectivity agent with different other properties, like the proxy host, agent pod, manage server pod, proxy pod. Fine. Let's go back. And this is the properties file. Cert file. So if you want to upload any certificate in the connectivity agent, you have to use that JKS file. You have to install the certificate here. The bin file, empty. And then lib. There are different libs provided by the connectivity agent, which is there automatically. Logs folder. So logs folder is an important folder. So all the logs will be there. If you want to debug your connectivity agent related issues, then this is the folder where you can find the diagnostic logs. I will show you that one. So these are the different folders of your agent home, and third party having adapters, don't need it, and then library. If you want to keep any external third party library, you can keep it here. So this is how your structure looks like of your agent. Any question on this? Guys, installation we can do it tomorrow, and tomorrow also I will show you the FTP adapter, how to use connectivity agent, and I can show you the file adapter there too. I hope it is clear to everyone. Any question, let me know, please.
Ankur, is this platform independent, this set of files? Like
Yes.
we can install in any ways?
Yes, you can install it on the Windows also.
Okay.
Like these agents are like instance specific, right? Basically, like we are passing the OCI URL based on the single instance.
What instance specific as in?
In the sense, like in the URL, right? Like in the config file, one of the config file,
yes,
we are giving the
yes,
OCI URL, right?
Yes.
That is like instance specific.
Absolutely, yes. Any question, anyone?
Ankur, when connection agent is installed outside the firewall, so one connection agent I can use across dev, test, and production, right? Same thing.
No. So here, when in this configuration profile, you have to provide the instance URL, and the instance URL will be different for dev, test, and then production. So if you are moving to the test, you have to have different agent. But yes, you can have multiple agent up and running on a single machine. You can create different directories, install it on a different machine, install from a different directories for sure.
Yeah, usually, I mean, cloud scenarios, when they work with the customers, the scenario will be, they will request that one time only they will configure when they are working with the network team. But usually the customers will be saying that once unless UAT is signed off, the production being secured, we won't give it.
Absolutely.
Anyhow, that is it. Yeah.
So once your production is ready, then only you have to install the connectivity agent there. Any other question? Okay. So I will stop recording.